just before some co-host Kidogo Chris, let me give you guys something that has just popped up.
Yeah.
I've never seen a movement that is so on right on time and so many things are working for our advantage. So around 1 hour ago, Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State of the United States of America, called the president and told him the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken speaks to President Ruto on phone, stresses the importance of freedom of assembly and expression in uh, that is in support of the youth and civil society. So, guys, do you know what that means? Fatuma, mute your mic. Um, so, when Blinken calls the president, Blinken is not anyone. Blinken is the de facto voice of the US president. So that guy has simply told Ruto, let the youth do their thing without you brutalizing them. I've never seen a time when so many things are working and aligned to make a specific movement succeed. Why we are not taking up that thing is a mystery to me. So Chris, go on.
Okay, no problem. What was next? Fatuma.
Thank you, Chris.
Fatuma. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Thanks for this opportunity. I think we have reached a place where now we can no longer afford to be leaderless. And I'll give you an example of myself. When I went back home, I was only 22 years old, and I had an opportunity to practice law in Nairobi. But I opted to go back home and do legal aid literally for free, provide legal services for free. But I could not do it alone. And by then, no elders will listen to me. Literally, all the cases were being solved out of court. And the courts were literally just for divorce cases and such kind of matters, which were also under Islamic Sharia. So I was dealing with culture, there was religion, and then there was the barrier of the political class who every youth listened to. Literally, every political leader had a tribal militia whom he has recruited and armed. And for 3 years, I did legal aid, getting those arrested out of the prison, uh, trying to get those who defile young girls and marry underage girls to be, arrested and to be prosecuted. Enough with the details. That did not take me anywhere. Literally, I felt the law corridors were too small. And then in 2005, there was a massacre in Marsabit. Around 100 children were killed because they were from a different tribe from that which was attacking, and the elders were the ones being brought together to discuss peace. The same elders are the ones who are planning the war. They are the ones who are directing the young people to go and fight. The young people had no voice. And I can relate to the situation the Gen Zs are in now. We are used to taking orders from the elders, from the politicians. We're not used to being our own leaders. And I picked up football made out of trash. I could not even afford to buy a real football because I was not earning any salary. By then, what we had was a community based organization, really small. There was no funding for it. The only money we got was from Willy Mutunga, which was 200,000. I had no account because no banks were ready to open accounts for me. Then we had to register the community based organization, and this is how I started. Really small, and you can start small and grow bigger. And today we are an international organization. We have a charity status in Ethiopia and an NGO, now PBO status in Kenya. And we got 200,000 to train more paralegals. We trained 6 paralegals. I could not afford to train more than that because we had to bring them to Nairobi for training. And in 2005, when the massacre happened, I felt the legal aid was not enough. It was not enough to provide legal aid and do activism. I was on the streets. Every time when somebody is arrested, we will mobilize and get them out. Women and children will be arrested. And all this led me to using football for social change, which we call shoot to score, not to kill. And when I picked up football and I went to the stadium, to the battlefield, not a stadium, we don't have any stadium. There was one which was supposed to be constructed by Uhuru Ruto, but money has definitely been eaten, and we just have a white elephant. The boys with the guns were looking at me like, "Are you crazy? Like, you can compare a ball made out of trash to an AK-47, and you dare even face us? We're gonna fight, and this is the only thing that we know how to do. Shoot to score, not to kill has three halves. The third half is for dialogue, a conversation among the young people, and trying to disarm them and remove the tribal issue from their tribe, which is again what the Gen Zs are now facing. How dare can we celebrate, Ruto appointing our tribal men? So we are now celebrating. Yesterday you saw the cheering for Kindiki. So all of a sudden he has gone to his backyard. By the way, Kindiki was my lecturer. I respect him very much, but I don't agree with him as a politician. What he has done, he has blood on his hand now. And that football today has taken me places. It has taken young people from Kenya to places. We were in Russia for the World Cup. We participated in a tournament which is organized alongside the football, and we came number 3 worldwide out of 128 organizations that brought teams to the World Cup. So it's doable, it's possible. We registered as an NGO in 2000. We applied for registration as an NGO in 2006. They rejected that. It was NFD, Center for Human Rights. They refused to register us with that name because they thought we were going to secede as a region. And I was still this young girl. I wasn't even married then, because for me, I was protesting. Like, nobody should make a decision for me whom I'm going to live my life with. So, including marriage, elders decide. Wife number, what is for them to decide, and how many cows are paid for you. I refused to be, paid for dowry, and it was a free transfer literally. And I married the man I love. He was from the enemy tribe, and we are facing challenges now. It took me years to build that organization. Today, HODI, Horn of Africa Development Initiative, and for those who want to check it out, hodiafrica.org, is an organization that is being run by young people. I retired at the age of 40. When I reached 40, I retired. And my reason for retiring, this was in 2019. I retired on 15th of January when Dusit happened, the Dusit attack. My husband was in there, and I felt I have done my part in Marsabit, and now I'm going to live in Nairobi, raise my children, because I thought my husband was dead in that terror attack. And while I was busy working with the tribal issues, terrorism was attacking my family, and I felt it's my time. I take up the mantle. Nobody is going to give you leadership. You have to fight for it. You have to take, the mantle up, and it's nobody passed the baton to me. I literally grabbed it, and I came to Nairobi, and I've been participating in different forums and organizing people in different arenas. I now do consultancies. Still, I feel I have something to contribute, and that is why I participate in these spaces. We can be leaders at the young age of even 19, 20, all the way to 25. It doesn't matter how old you are you really ready for the leadership? And you should have principles that cannot be compromised. So my take is, we have Kibe, we have Anthony, we have other Gen Zs who are in this space. Don't wait for the baton to be passed. Nobody will pass it to you. Literally grab it and run your race. We are not here permanently. We all have a short life to live. I will call it short because for me, I'm now 45. At 45, I'm raising Gen Zs. I have 3 children and Gen Alpha. Nobody is going to pass the baton to you. The time is now. Pick it up and run your marathon. Thank you.
Fatma.
Anthony, before I go back to Fatuma, you see, if we were to go back when President Ruto took the leadership of the country, I think as soon as he was announced and now he came to address the nation as the president-elect, he said one thing, and I knew that we are up for a nasty ride. And I don't have to apologize for whatever I'm about to say. The very first thing that I'm sure all of you here remember when President Ruto said, "And where are my good friends from Citizen?" I'm sure you guys remember that speech. If someone can find that speech.
I remember.
Yes.
And he laughed.
Yes, and he laughed. The next thing that he says just within the first few sentence of the whole speech that the then President-elect William Ruto said is, "We are Democrats." And by the way, Fatuma, I'll still come back to you because I'm looking at your website as well. But just you guys, it's an open mic Friday, and come with me in my imagination. Not in my imagination, but in my analysis, because I don't do imaginations. In 2013 or 2011, 2012, William Samoei Ruto, this guy was a Republican. That's when he had his Republican Party, URP, the United Republican Party. Then at that time, the Barack Obama was the president of the United States, finishing off, I think, his second term or doing his second term, and it was kind of becoming clear that the next American president will be a Republican. So Ruto comes up with the URP and he runs with it to start campaigning for the presidency of Kenya. You see, when someone is a Republican almost all over the world, especially for a big country like Kenya and a country with a lot of potential, he goes to the United States where he's looking for donors and people that will finance his campaign and all that. Who do you think were funding William Ruto? Probably the Republicans in the United States. Some Republican senators, governors who have their interest in Kenya, they will fund him for this guy to become the president. And he joins with Uhuru Kenyatta and they create the government. Right? Then, fast forward, this guy becomes the deputy president, runs with that thing all over. We never heard of URP, but businesses were being made. Right? Fast forward in 2020, 2021, 2022, when now things are going bad for him with his with his boss, as they always do with the deputy president and the president. Now he comes out with this other political outfit called the UDA, United Democratic Alliance, URP UDA. Right? Then how does someone create this becomes how does someone moves from being a Republican in one set of elections and they become the complete opposite in the other set of election? It's because interest shifts. And now, possibly, the people that are busy enjoying whatever Ruto is going through is the Republicans, because anyway, if we finance you to become the deputy president, you become president, you switch sides and you become a Democrat, then we let you have sleepless night. Or ama ni mimi niko zangu. Because I've never been able to understand this, and I was just thinking about it, and I'm like, anyone can unmute themselves and think and say, Chris, maybe where you're just
Chris,
in your imagination. Yes.
If you look at what Blinken has told Ruto, and let me tell you, when Blinken calls, you don't talk, he talks to you. It's a yes sir kind of reply from Ruto. He was very clear. Civil society and youth must be incorporated in democracy. I want you to picture that phone call. I hear it happened like, I've seen it from Cyprian Yakudi, but I'm seeing it also on Nation. It happened like 1 hour ago. Okay? So this guy is being told, we are not requesting you to include the youth in your governance structure. We are telling you they must be. Are you getting? They must be. It's not an option. You don't have A, B, C, and D. So what is important for the youth of this country to realize? There's a big boss somewhere. Like this guy who said in their class, if the guys choose to do a class in Luo, they do it. Now that bully has come in and is holding the door open. He's asking you to go in. No one will touch you. I don't know. I don't want us to miss that point. But anyway, let me keep quiet so that people come in. Akina Fatma and
hey, Anthony, the big bully is coming. But anyway, I'll go back to Fatma. Then I'll come to the next speaker. Fatma, I'm looking at your organization and yes, I'll come back to you, Nyadimo and Mzalendo and Most Def. Fatma, I'm looking at your organization website. So you need people that can volunteer and all that. So how do you just I have one question, and unless someone else has a question for you, then they can come in. Who is this that finances this organization, or is it a self-funding organization, or do you get the money out of your pocket?